Alright, back again for another tackle talk. This one that we're rocking, we're gonna do some big guy bait stuff. Hopefully the camera will focus on that, maybe kinda sorta, you betcha. Alright, Babe was kind enough to send me a plethora of baits. Some that I show here I will use, some are for another purpose that I'll talk about later when the time comes. So again, got some stuff in the works with that for, well, at this point it's looking like fall just because time has gotten away from me. Things are really busy because they're never not busy when you have a kid. So anyway, we're kind of looking at figuring out when we're going to be able to spend some time up north. Got some other trips in the works that we're kind of coordinating at this current time, and good news was Minnesota was really awesome to me. I cannot wait to share with you some of the footage that Connor and I captured together, and it was really cool being able to hang out with Ben a little bit up there and kind of see how they were running their program with Devoted. So all really cool things, all really fun stuff, but without too much of an intro here, let's kind of dive into some of the different baits that Babe has available, and like some of the twitches and countdowns that he uses or has available, and I'll try and talk about where I might use some of those lures and how I would add them to my own arsenal. So let's kind of start here with his shallower. I believe this is the deeper of the two twitch models because of the pitch of the bill. So this is his standard like 7-inch twitch bait. Again, that bill is pitched at, I believe what he said, a 38-degree angle maybe, if I remember from our phone call. But really cool walleye pattern. More or less a bait that'll get down to, you know, 2-ish foot, 2 to 4 foot, in that range, depending on how you work it and how you're working your rod over the cover. So super cool bait. I like kind of the slimmer profile to it because that kind of gives those fish a different look. Especially for me, I throw the Ridgways a lot. That's very like large and wide profile. So having something that maybe is a little smaller or a little more subtle at times is not going to hurt anything. Here's his shallower twitch. This is kind of like a walleye pattern. You can see that the pitch of the bill is much different, and that one gets not quite as deep as the others. I think he said this one will get down to about 18 inches, which, to be completely honest, I really could have used that last weekend. That's neither here nor there. I got it now. So going to be a really good bait for just kind of working the tops of those weeds and kind of ticking them through there. I really like this kind of like gold-headed sucker, gold-headed walleye pattern, whatever you want to call it. It's got that really nice like thin profile to it. It just looks like it should work, and it should work really well. Another thing that I gotta credit Babe on is he puts really nice hooks on these. Like out of the box, these things are they're just really nice hooks. Maybe I'm just kind of a hook Nazi or too much of a stickler with the hook situation, but nonetheless, I really enjoy not having to change out the hardware on my baits when I get them. Moving on to his countdown series, this is his 7-inch countdown. So basically, the way you know that it's the countdown is it's got that metal lip. My camera's struggling a little bit today, which is fine. But really cool perch pattern. Basically, from my understanding, talking to one of my buddies, Justin, and talking to Babe, when you're working these baits, you want to just kind of count it down a foot a second, and then you just kind of work it in that water column, work it in that depth. Obviously, you have all kinds of different options and different types of like cover that exist within the water column, so you can count it down to wherever your cover is at, and then just work it from there. If you've got weeds that, you know, are emerging 2 foot under the water, you can count to 2 and then work it right over those weeds. If you're trying to get it off a steeper break that maybe breaks in like 6 foot of water, count to 6 and then start working it back. So that's just a good way, you know, a good bait to get into some of those different depth ranges that maybe aren't poked around in with that type of profile. Maybe the only way that those fish would see a profile like that would be maybe like trolling or something like that. So a really cool thing, a really cool bait to, you know, utilize in those different areas. Moving on, we've got the 9-inch twitch now. This is kind of a cool golden clown pattern. I don't know if that's what he calls it, but that's what I'm gonna call it for the sake of this video. I did not look up the color for this, so sorry babe if that's like not what it's called and you don't enjoy that name. But for the sake of what I'm gonna call it, we're going with gold clown. Awesome like paint job. You've got like a red and yellow head, a lot of gold along the body. Just give those fish something to really key in on and something to really add some contrast in the water column. Again, this is like his twitch style, not the countdown style. You can see it's got the plastic lip versus the metal lip. So, you know, again, it's one of those deals where I really like the narrower profile for some things, like being more subtle. In the fall, generally, I tend to go a little bit more subtle. I feel like the fish aren't moving as much, and like I don't want to throw the fish off with a super erratic presentation. Not to say that they don't work, because I know people have caught fish on Thanksgiving on the Ridgways. So again, it's all what you're comfortable with, all what you're confident in. But again, like later in the fall when the water's a little cooler, or maybe even early in the spring, you know, those narrower profiles I tend to prefer and lean on a little bit more. So moving into his other 9-inch bait, we've got the 9-inch countdown here. Just a really nice perch color. I mean, muskies eat them, we eat them. They're good. So, and this pattern just looks fantastic. Again, it's one of those deals where you can count it down to wherever depth you want to work, and then just start working the bait. I'm really excited to get some of these in the water in northern Wisconsin. There's some applications that I have that I think a lot of these will fill a really good niche for, especially like the countdown series, where I know where the break is and I can count it down to where I want that lure to be before I even start working it. So that'll be really handy, especially some of that open water stuff, some sandgrass type stuff. Those applications are hard to find lures to fit. So hopefully, you know, we can find a niche there, or who knows, maybe get one that way. It'd be really cool if we did. So another thing that Babe has kind of taken over is Rich Reinhardt's bucktails. This is the Rich's Ambush bucktail, and you'll notice that it's kind of got a curve to it. It looks a little cattywampus. That's purposeful. So basically the reason that it's curved is the bucktail spends the whole time in the water fighting itself, throws off more vibration, throws off more grind, and as a result it's just a different feel that those fish aren't normally used to and hopefully haven't felt before. So that's kind of the bucktail in a nutshell there, and why it looks a little different and should perform a little differently than what you might be used to. Okay, so last on the list, I don't know how many people have watched the Smith's Fishing Outdoors from last summer when they were in Minnesota working Babe's flaptails, but holy cow, they were crushing them on those flaptails. And I've never seen people working flaptails so fast in my life, but hey, let the fish tell you what they want. So Babe makes two different size flaptails. So you've got your standard size one, which is really an interesting profile. It's kind of fat. It's got a knocker on the back here, and it just kind of like, it's got a good click to it. I don't know how well that's gonna pick up, but it's got a really nice click to it. Again, good paint, good epoxy. I really don't think color matters all that much for topwater. And yeah, got the standard hooks, hook hanger, and it just makes noise. But I feel like that clicker makes a little bit more noise off the wood. I don't know what kind of wood he uses for these, but I feel like off the wood it makes a little bit more noise than on some of the other flaptails that I've seen. So again, really excited to run that this summer. There's, you know, I'm not a big topwater guy. Usually if topwater is to be thrown, someone else is throwing it, but in my boat. But who knows, maybe, you know, I've heard blind squirrels can find acorns, so maybe I'll be one of those this summer. Whatever. I'll try and chuck some topwater when I feel like the timing is right. But so that's his larger flaptail. It's just got a lot wider profile, bigger knocker in the back. You know, it just really clicks hard. And like I said, I think that it clicks a little bit harder off that wood than some of the other flaptails that I've seen do. Again, I'll have to hear what it sounds like in the water, but I mean, like I said, in Smith's Fishing Outdoors video, you can hear that thing knocking from a long ways away as they're reeling it in. So if I could hear it in their video knocking and being picked up, then I should be, you know, it should sound really, really good in person. So really excited to throw these baits and check out how these things work. I'm really excited for the countdowns this summer to put those in applications that I think that they would work really well in. So again, I cannot thank Babe enough for sending me some baits to give a shot and hopefully get some fish on film with them. So we'll see. Hopefully we can make something happen. Looking forward to the Northwoods. Looking forward to a really big trip here towards the end of July. Again, I'd like to thank Babe for getting these baits in my hands. I really appreciate that he considered sending them my way, or allowed me to give them a shot this summer. I'm really looking forward to using those countdowns. I think that they will fit a very special niche in some of the water that I fish throughout the year. So, and a huge thanks to all the other bait makers, guides, people I film with, you know, people that I talk to online, people that I fish with. Without all of their support and everyone else's support, none of this is possible, because it takes a lot of effort to make all the videos, get out there and film, dump the footage, do all the things. So again, I appreciate everyone's patience that I fish with for all the craziness in filming, but I digress. I hope that everyone is having an awesome 23 season. I look forward to trying to get more content for all of you to watch when the winter months are cold and there isn't a whole lot to do. But with that being said, I appreciate everyone for checking this out, and I'll catch you all in the next one.